What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down something that's SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'll talk about some very important pieces of data that could cause more volatility as well, which you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, so with the way things are looking, I just wanted to say that right now the market's in a very critical place. We still have this left shoulder and a head and a right shoulder on SPY, and we'll have to be watching to see if this downtrend continues or not, but this is going to depend on some data. I just want to mention that for today at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the ISM manufacturing, PMI, employment, new orders, and prices data coming out. So today is Friday, by the way, so expect more manipulation. It's Friday, January 3rd, the first Friday of 2025. So 30 minutes after the stock market opens at 10 a.m., look for some volatility once the manufacturing numbers come out. And one of the most important things is going to be new orders, as it gives us more insights on forward-looking data. So get ready for all that volatility that's going to come because of this. We'll see if this leads to them using this to pump the markets more or dump it. So just be prepared. Just know that for the options chain, okay, it's very balanced. We have about 280,000 of these calls expiring, and we have a little bit over 260,000 puts expiring. So for once, the majority positions are in the long side, and we'll see what the market makers do because of that. Besides that, there's nothing too significant coming out for earnings this week. And then, we're going to be waiting for next week for that. And then as far as the market goes, just know that we have been on a more rocky start to 2025, which is no surprise. We were talking about this in our earlier videos. And then I'm seeing a lot of headlines about Tesla coming short on the deliveries, unfortunately. So what happened was we got about 1.79 million deliveries in total for 2024. Wall Street analysts were expecting us to try to break expectations and do better than that. Looking at 2023, we did about 1.81 million deliveries. So they actually did less deliveries in 2024 than 2023. And then for the quarter, we had about 495,000. Wall Street was expecting 506,000 plus. So Tesla came a little bit short, unfortunately, and that's why, we're just seeing mainstream news screaming about this over and over again. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit more negative for Tesla specifically. For Bitcoin, there's a lot of enthusiasm for 2025. Many people think that things can improve, especially with the new administration. But we'll see about that. That could always change. Besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy on the news. So that's it for now. We're just going to focus on what the charts have to offer for now. Just know that when you look at SPY, there's technically this very large head and shoulders like structure that is continuing to develop. What's very interesting is the fact that so far there's nothing that's really causing this to invalidate, and there's no sign of a true trend reversal quite yet, because in order to get that, we need to see a lot more buyers step in to really defend and squeeze shorts. And as of right now, we're not seeing that. So for the time being, it's the bears who still technically have an edge. So the question is, what's going to happen from here? Let's talk about it. How do I think this is going to move? So the first thing you have to know is that looking again on SPY, we still have this left shoulder here. There's the head up here. Then there's this right shoulder. And we're technically on a downtrend for now. In order for SPY to bounce, you want to see SPY break past the 590 plus area at first, and then once that breaks, you're looking for essentially 592 to break. So break those two levels, and yes, this thing could really start pushing. Once we get back above our 200 EMA at the very least, and that would reverse this. If we push this resistance and then come short, that could also be a sign that this is just a small, push only to reject, and that would bring us right back down towards the 580. The 583 area, which is where the support is right here. And if that fails, we're looking for 580 flats. That's where the low was from yesterday, followed by 577. If 577 fails this, we're looking for a much bigger dump, because once again, this head and shoulders could still pan out. Now, for the short term, it does look like the market's going to see some buyers try to defend it. There might be an attempt to push, but I'm not as confident about this lasting unless we get back above 590 to 592. We got to break that to really start pushing more. Otherwise, what's going to likely happen is we push a little bit towards 588 or so, and then the market could turn over and start slowing back down to the lower 580s and remain lackluster. We'll see what reaction we get from this data coming out, but so far it does favor us kind of like pushing it, but then maybe dipping as time goes on. And I still see some more weakness on this chart for the time being, unless we start breaking past the 590 to 592 area on SPY. So for now, it looks like we'll pump and dump, but we'll see about that. For ES, we have a left shoulder, head and a right shoulder, just like SPY. It does look like it wants to push just a little bit, but we need to break past 59.50 and eventually 50, very close to 6,000 to turn back up. Otherwise, this favors a small push for 59.50, then a rejection and move back down towards lower levels such as 5,900 flat, then 58.80. So watch and see what kind of reaction we get here. We could push it, but then reject, and we'll have to see how things end up going. But I do want to say that ES does look a little bit more uh, bearish in terms of its trend. This may push it, but only to reject, so give this the time it needs. I think that this may attempt to get to the mid 5900s, but then there's going to be that risk of rejection near our 20 EMA. The last two times we hit this, we did reject off our 20 EMA. So it could be a push and rejection, so just keep that in mind. For Nvda, there's a left shoulder here, there's a head, and there could be a right shoulder. If we break past 142, we're looking for 146. And if we come short at 140, we could be tipping back down to 137. I anticipate this is going to push a little bit more to about 140, and we'll have to see what the reaction is if we could continue to break out or not. It does look a little bit more bullish than the markets to me. It does look like it has some strength, but this is going to depend on some factors if we could hold above 140 or not. For Bitcoin, I just want to say Bitcoin is also kind of flat here. We have to try to hold a 95,000. Might retest it. We'll have to see if we bounce or not. So give this the time it needs. For others out there, we have Tsla. Tesla's on a bit of a downtrend. We have a double top here. It's dipping right over here. I think there's going to be a risk of it retesting 375 soon. It might pop a bit before it starts to do that. And if that fails us, we're looking for essentially 368 and then 363 is our targets near the 200 EMA, which is very close to where the breakout was off the cup and handle. If that fails us, we're looking for a dip to about the 350s. For NQ, we had a high here. We came down, made a lower high, and we're downtrending. If we can't hold above 21,350, we could be dipping back down to the lower 21,000s, so just be careful. The QQQ may attempt to push for 513 to 515, but if we can't hold above 516, we could reject and start returning to 511 or below. So just keep that in mind. If 511 fails us, we're looking for 507. For Aapl, we're on a bit of a downtrend. We'll be watching this resistance around 244. If we reject off that, there's going to be a risk of 240, so just be careful with that. For that Russell, we have a head and shoulders. There's like a left shoulder, a head and a right shoulder. If we don't get back above 223, we're going to be at risk of dipping to 220, then 218. For coin, we could be retesting 261. If we break that, we're looking for a push. If not, if we can't hold above 261, this could subside around 265 and start turning back down to the 250s all over again. Amzn's on technically a downtrend. We need to hold above 223. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to 220, then 218. For Meta, we look a little bit more bullish. We need to get back above 608. If we break that, there's like a double bottom that could be forming. This could be forming like a George W, what it's known as. So if 608 breaks, look for a push. If we lose 597, we turn back down. But for now, this is holding up quite well. We'll have to see if 608 could break. Microsoft looks a little bit weaker. We'll see if we could hold above 420. Otherwise, we can do favorite downside for like 415 all over again. And then for Google, there's still a large head and shoulders like pattern, but we're going to be looking for a test of 192. And also know it's very choppy, so it may just chop around the 192s. If we lose 190, there's going to be a bigger dip. And so far, we haven't done that, so it's just range bound. As far as the VIX goes, we'll have to be watching if we bounce off 17.3 or not. So give this the time it needs. Anyways, that is it for my video. Although there is some upside potential on SPY, just to start things off, we'll be watching to see if we get some kind of rejection as time goes on. Anyways, that is it for this one. Look for an attempt to push. There's going to be a small attempt to push to start things off, but once this data comes out, watch and see if we get a rejection or not, if this causes a rug pull or not. Be careful with that because technically the chart is bearish unless SPY can break past the resistance I called out. We are technically more bearish. Anyways, thank you for listening. Have a good day. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update, and peace out.